Hello, my name is TJ. Today we're going to talk about dockline handling so that you can help your skipper get to the dock with as little drama as possible. Docking is very challenging and can take a skipper a long time to master. Dockline handling is simpler. We'll teach you the key techniques and concepts so that you're a skipper's best friend when pulling into the dock. We've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. This video breaks those techniques and concepts down into 6 sections so you can be an effective line handler the next time you step aboard. The dockline handler's job has 4 distinct phases. First, you prepare the boat as instructed by the skipper. You can fill in the gaps with your own knowledge, but if you're unsure about anything, ask for clarification. Once the boat has been prepared, the skipper will assign jobs and positions for docking. Your responsibility is to make sure you understand your job and are prepared to do it as instructed. Again, if you're unsure about anything, ask for clarification. The third phase is the act of docking. The skipper brings the boat alongside and the line handlers secure the boat to the dock. Usually, the skipper will only require one line combined with wind, throttle, and rudder controls to make the boat fast to the dock. The fourth and final phase is cleanup. The remaining dock lines will be tied on. The fenders and dock lines will be adjusted so the boat is tied on properly and the skipper can turn off the engine. All 4 phases are important to drama-free docking. If you skimp on preparation or understanding your job, phase 3 is sure to be stressful. The 2 main tools you use for docking are the CLEAT hitch and the bowline. We'll start with the CLEAT hitch. We're going to assume you understand the basics of a CLEAT hitch. Instead, we're going to demonstrate some of the finer points of CLEAT hitches that are important for busy, heavily loaded dock lines and cleat horns.
You're coming from over here. Looks like this. There's your wrap, there's your cross, and there is your hitch.
People often make the mistake of starting the wrap on the near end of the cleat horn. It's important to make sure that the wrap is at least a 270-degree turn. This means that you start your cleat wrap on the far end of the cleat horn, which gives you at least 90 degrees. Then you wrap all the way around the opposite horn, then you start your cross. If the line is coming in perpendicular to the cleat, either end will do. Just remember to try and get a 270-degree wrap. Make sure you get 90 degrees on the first end of the horn you wrap on. More than 360 degrees is a problem as well.
Whoa, there's a wake. The reason for that is this is really easy to bind up. So this is bound up pretty good, and it's kind of a pain to get uncaught. Always try and lead it around like this and like that. And the cross, and then the hitch.
Docking cleats can get very crowded.
And you can't just look at it and say, oh, I got it right. Like, I can't tell that the last cleat is right, I just have to know. Whereas the first one, I definitely was able to just look at it and say, yes, that's correct.
In preparation for docking, I always use bowlines to secure the dock lines to the boat. The bowline is just a standard bowline tied through the horn, not around it so that it can't slip free. Bigger bowline loops are better because they keep the horn free and easier to use for further cleats later. If you double 2 lines back to the same cleat horn using 4 cleat hitches, you're going to have a large tangle of lines. It's much easier and tidier if you start the double back lines with bowlines and then finish them with 2 cleats. Dockline nomenclature is very explicit. Every line used for docking has a specific name. Knowing each line by name will make you much more valuable when coming alongside. The name of each line starts with where the line begins aboard the boat. Lines that begin in the stern of the boat are called stern lines. Lines that begin amidship are called midship lines. And lines that begin at the bow of the boat are called bow lines. The direction in which the line heads to the dock makes up the second half of its name. A line simply goes from the boat to the dock. A spring line is led to the dock either forward or aft of where it is tied onto the boat. The direction the line is led to the dock finishes up its name. We've been showing a midship line. This is a midship spring forward, and this is a midship spring aft. Now you try. Bow spring forward. Stern spring aft. Midship spring aft. This is a bow line. Cleats won't always be directly across from dock lines. Roughly speaking, a line isn't a spring until it exceeds an angle of 45 degrees. Generally, the further forward or aft a spring is led, the better. As you prepare for docking, the skipper will tell you which lines you'll need to tie where. You'll attach the lines using bowlines unless the skipper says otherwise. Make sure the dock lines are run over the lifelines. This way they can be heaved overboard or carried ashore without following the lifelines and possibly damaging the lifelines or the stanchions.
Over the lifelines.
Picture picking up the line you've tied on and handing it ashore. If it will be wrapped around anything or fall on anything, try and retie it in a way where it's almost certainly going to pay out cleanly. Another thing to keep in mind when staging lines and as the lines go ashore is to keep the dock lines out of the water and clear of the prop. Next, you get the dock lines ready to go ashore. Any line that you're going to throw or step ashore with should be coiled up cleanly. Secondary dock lines should be set up so they're accessible from the dock. One handy way to make lines easy to reach from the dock, especially bow lines, is to drape them over the lifelines. Then, even when the bow is more than arm's length from the dock, your line handlers can easily reach the line. The last, surprisingly often forgotten, preparation before pulling alongside the dock is to open the gate. Take a moment to consider how much we've already discussed. This doesn't even include your skipper's instructions on how this specific docking should be performed. There's a lot to keep straight. This is why experienced dockline handlers are invaluable to their skipper. When the boat is alongside the dock and you're standing there with a line in your hands and a cleat at your feet, you have a lot of power. Using the cleat, you can take control of the boat from the skipper. This can really throw things off. You'll work as a team to dock the boat. Your skipper will explain the process and steps needed to dock successfully. Trust the skipper's judgment and follow their instructions. The only time you should stop the boat using the dock line is when the skipper tells you to do so or a collision is imminent. When the skipper stops the boat, they choose the moment when they lose steerage of the boat. When you stop the boat using a line, you take control from the skipper when they might least expect to lose it. The most important thing to remember about collisions is never get your body involved in a collision. A minor collision, one that might not even leave a mark on the dock or the boat, is more than enough force to break bones or cause deep lacerations. The boat will be okay, but you could be seriously injured. If it seems like a risk, don't take it. Now that I've properly emphasized not to unexpectedly take control of the boat using your dock line, and that you need to follow your skipper's instructions, here are a few powerful tools for controlling the boat using dock lines. Holding a line is not very powerful when you're trying to control a boat. When your skipper asks you to hold a line in your hands, it's intentional. Conversely, if the skipper tells you to cleat a line, don't try and hold it by hand. When you start using a cleat as a force multiplier, then you can manipulate a boat very easily. Even half a wrap is very powerful.
So this is what holding a line looks like. That is what a secure line looks like. That is what a really secure line looks like. You can call this made. This qualifies as made. And then that's cleated. Let's do it again. Holding a line.
Your first wrap is very powerful. A 270-degree wrap can definitely stop a boat. When you add a cross to the 270-degree wrap, you've got more stopping power than can be overcome by most sailboats full throttle. This can be considered made. When a line is secured to a cleat, say or yell "made" loudly enough so that you're sure the skipper heard you. Now let's talk about adjusting your dock lines using the cleat as a tool. Sweating the lines and surging the lines.
So if you need to bring this line in against a fair amount of load, it's not very unloaded, what you do is you sweat the line. This is about, you can go with a round turn and then across. So 180 degrees plus and a cross, and then pull the line up and slide it in. You don't always need this round turn. This will work too.
To adjust a line on a cleat, you'll always want to untie as little of the cleat hitch as necessary. You always have to untie the finishing hitch. You'll rarely remove the 270-degree wrap. The cross is the variable. Sometimes it will keep you from easily adjusting the line, so you'll remove it. Other times, the cross will make your job easier and you'll leave it in place. Always pull perpendicularly to the line, as if you were drawing a bowstring. Many boats I sail on sweat their halyards to haul their sails up without using a winch. Easing a line is the opposite of sweating a line. Again, only untie as much of the cleat as is necessary. Surging a line is easing a line where you push and pull the line through a partial cleat hitch. You use surging when a line wouldn't go through otherwise. It lets you keep the line more secure on the cleat while still letting it out. Make sure that you push and pull as you surge a line, starting the push a split second before the pull for best results. As a review, let's discuss the process of leaving the dock. The last dock line that will be untied is usually doubled back to the boat so it can be untied from aboard. Then you remove all but that single doubled back line as instructed by the skipper. Finally, you release the doubled back line as the skipper pulls the boat away from the dock. Once you're clear of the dock, you stow the dock lines and fenders. That was a lot of material. You deserve a cheat sheet for making it to the end. Always run the dock lines so they don't foul the lifelines or the boat. Use cleats and dock lines judiciously and as instructed. Don't take control of the boat from the skipper unless a collision is imminent. Use sweating and surging to multiply your own strength when adjusting the boat using lines under load. Always keep your body clear of collisions. Finally, keep lines out of the water and out of the prop. As a skipper, I'd like to thank you for watching this whole video. I really appreciate crew putting the time into making docking go more smoothly. So thank you. What I suggest my crew do as they're learning is go back through this material shortly before they go out from a dock and then review it again afterwards. This helps them retain the material and adds doing to hearing and seeing. As long as this video is, I actually cut out a lot to keep it this short. Part 2 will include more dockline techniques that I hope you'll find useful. If it's not linked here, then it's not done yet. Subscribe and you'll see it once it's posted. I'll be sharing more instructional material on this channel and at SavvySalt.com. If you found this video useful, have a look around and hopefully you'll find more material that helps you grow as a sailor. So long, and I'll see you out there.